Most men think a sexless marriage just means frustration. But what if I told you it's quietly destroying your confidence, hope, and faith in ways you never imagined? After helping hundreds of men reignite intimacy with their wives, I have seen the silent damage that rejection can do to your sense of self-worth. So in this video, I will show you 5 more ways it impacts your life that you wouldn't even expect, and how to overcome them so you can rebuild intimacy with your wife. Before I show you the way out, you need to understand exactly why sexual rejection hits you so hard in the first place. Because once you understand it, restoring desire becomes 10 times easier. Imagine you signed a contract where you agreed not to eat anywhere else, but the only restaurant you're allowed to go to refuses to serve you food. That isn't loyalty, it is starvation. It creates a desperate energy that eventually turns into a deep, hollow depression. If you are in a sexless marriage, you aren't just horny or entitled, you're currently experiencing a biological and psychological crisis that is rewiring your brain chemistry. And that leads us to impact number 1. Your brain is hardwired to bond through sex. The bonding chemicals like vasopressin and oxytocin show up during cuddles and deep talks. But during sex, they flood your system like a tidal wave. When sex and connection disappear, you're being chemically cut off from your wife. Your brain literally stops recognizing her as your lover. She becomes a roommate with a shared Netflix password. Your nervous system goes into crisis mode. You get anxious, irritable, and panicked. Your body's screaming, danger. The main way I connect to my wife is gone. Without that regular connection, you lose the ability to feel close to her, even if you love her with all your heart. That's why you can sit next to her on the couch and feel lonelier than if you were alone. Now, you can't negotiate desire, but you can create the conditions for it. When she is stressed, snappy, or withdrawn, your nervous system reads that as rejection. So I see many guys responding by giving her space because they think that is the respectful thing to do. But she's not rejecting you. She's waiting to see if you got the backbone to pull her out of her mood. To her, your absence confirms that you can't handle her when she's not all sunshine and rainbows. Next time she's in a funk, walk up close, put your hands on her shoulders gently, look at her in her eyes, and take 3 deep, slow breaths together. No words, no solutions, just breathe. Her body is in fight or flight. Your calm presence tells her, you're safe, I'm here, and within a minute, you will see her soften. Maybe she even cry, maybe she laugh. That's her body remembering that you're her man, not her problem. You're not here to change her mood. You're here to show her that her mood doesn't change you. So try this once tonight and see what happens. But the damage doesn't stop here. It bleeds into every area of your life, starting with impact number 2. Your sexual energy is not just about what happens in the bedroom, it is the rocket fuel behind every ambition you ever had. When you are getting rejected at home, you're not just losing sex, you're losing your edge. You start thinking, if I can't inspire desire in the woman who promised to love me, how am I supposed to conquer anything else? And here's where I see it go sideways. When you have no mission, no purpose bigger than your relationship, you substitute it with cheap dopamine, like porn, video games, weed, maintenance sex, just to take the edge off. You call it stress relief, but really, you're numbing the pain of not being wanted. Your sexual energy is your creative life force. It's the same force that builds empires, that closes deals, that turns ordinary men into legends. But every time you mindlessly ejaculate, you're draining the battery. That's why you feel like a wet noodle after. You're trading your fire for 5 seconds of relief. I had a client named Chris. When he first came to me, he said this.
Really low energy. I was taking naps in the afternoon most days, a little bit depressed in my life. I was having trouble managing my finances and struggling to find a way to live my purpose.
He had lost all his drive, but after he learned how to harness his sexual energy instead of wasting it, everything changed. He said this.
At the end of this program, all of the little pieces that you taught started to come together. I feel powerful. For the first time in my life, I have no doubt that I can manifest anything that I want in my life. And you give us all the tools to be able to do that. The amount of energy I have, the excitement that I get out of bed with in the morning, that's like when I was 22 years old. I wasn't expecting that.
If you want that same drive and purpose back, you need to understand that a man who is sexually rejected becomes a man who is afraid to want. You settle for okay when you could have outstanding. You get so safe, you're trading your legacy for comfort. So if you can't control your own sexual impulse, she knows that she can control you. A woman cannot trust a man she can't control, right? Why should she trust you with big decisions if you can't even master your own body? The ancient masters understood this. Sexual energy can be spent or it can be harnessed. Every unconscious ejaculation is a withdrawal from your bank account, but when you learn to contain it and move it through your body, you're building power instead of burning it. So, here's your challenge for this week. Next time you feel the urge to ejaculate, whether to porn or as a stress relief, just stop and become aware of that energy building in your body. Instead of releasing it, imagine drawing it up your spine with your breath. And yes, I know, it's going to feel uncomfortable, but that's just your nervous system learning something new. Do this 3 times this week. Don't ejaculate. Breathe the energy up instead. And within days, I promise you, you will notice something shift. Sharper thinking, more drive, easier decisions. That's the life force you've been throwing away finally working for you. And here's the magic. When she feels that contained, directed power within you, something in her will respond. She won't know why, but she will start looking at you differently. Sexual discipline isn't about deprivation. It is about reclaiming the fuel you need to build a life so compelling she can't help but want in. Not all sexless marriages are stuck for the same reason. I have identified 4 distinct patterns, and knowing which one you are changes everything about how you fix it. So I have created a free quiz, link below, that will tell you in just 2 minutes exactly which pattern is sabotaging your sex life. And now, let's move on to impact number 3, where something tricky happens. You become a guest in your own home. You're tiptoeing around, afraid to make a single decision because, God forbid, you rock the boat. You're apologizing for wanting anything, for wanting her attention, for wanting sex, for being a man with needs. It's like you have gone from a man of the house to her handyman, good for fixing the Wi-Fi, useless for lighting the fire in the bedroom. And the sad part is, society hands you a rule book. Be her buddy, be her helper, be her equal. But desire doesn't live in the land of equality, it lives in the gap, the spark, the tension between 2 polar opposite charges, right? Treat her like a friend and you sap that spark dead. She feels safe with you, sure, like she does with her brother, but she doesn't feel the kind of dangerous safety that makes her want to rip your clothes off. Familiarity breeds depolarization. And depolarization breeds, well, let's just say you're sleeping alone. By trying to be her equal partner in everything, you have neutralized the polarity between you. You handed over your leadership to avoid conflict, and now you're stuck asking permission for things. So every time you ask instead of decide, you're training her to see you as someone who needs managing, not as a man she can surrender to. Why? Because you're terrified of her disapproval. Somewhere along the lines, you'll learn that conflict is dangerous, that her being upset means that you have failed, but women doesn't want a man who's scared of her feelings. She wants a man who can stand tall in the storm and say, I got this. When you suppress your desire to keep the peace, you're not being respectful. You're being avoidant. And she can feel it in her bones. So here's your homework. Make one decision without asking her first. Something small you would usually run by her. Pick the restaurant. Sign the kids up for something. Buy that thing you've been eyeing. Tell her with confidence, we're going to that new Italian place tonight. Be ready at 7. Instead of saying, where would you like to eat tonight? She might push back. That's fine. That's just her testing you if you actually mean it. So don't defend or explain, just smile and hold your ground. When you stop asking for permission to be a man, the spark comes back, the polarity returns, the desire wakes up. And no, you're not being controlling, you're being decisive. That's a massive difference, and her body knows it. Just one decision this week, no permission required. Impact number 4, this is where it can get dangerous because a man who starts for intimacy becomes transactional. He starts making secret deals like, I did the dishes, I paid for dinner, I listened to her problems, now she owes me affection. But he never actually say it. He just hopes she will notice and reward him. And when she doesn't, the resentment builds. He get passive aggressive, snide comments, silent treatment, withdrawing as punishment. He's physically there, but emotionally volatile, keeping the score in a game only he can see. Nothing kills attraction faster than a man who is begging for validation while secretly resenting her for withholding it. You have turned into a vending machine. Insert good behaviors, receive affection, but she doesn't want your chores. She wants your honesty. The reason you can't say what you want is because your body is locked up with tension. You're so afraid of rejection that you're holding your breath, tightening your chest, bracing for impact. So here's what you can do to try to fix this. Before you ask for what you want, make sure that your body is open first. Consciously relax your shoulders, unclench your jaw, loosen your belly, feel the feet on the ground. Then, and only then, from that relaxed place, say what you want directly. I want to be close to you tonight. Don't say, would you maybe want to be intimate if you're not too tired? The difference isn't just the words, it's the energy. When your body is relaxed, your desire comes through as an invitation, not as a demand. She can feel the difference between a man who is tense and needy versus a man who is grounded and clear. She might say no, but that's okay. Just stay relaxed. Don't withdraw. Don't punish. Just breathe into that disappointment and let it go. At least she knows what you actually want instead of trying to decipher your mood. When you stop keeping score and start speaking from a relaxed body, the hidden tension drops. She stops feeling tested. She stopped acting out of depression. So this week, ask her directly with an open, relaxed body. But if this pattern continues for too long, something even worse happens. And that brings us to impact number 5. Deep down, a man's instinct is to protect and provide for his woman. But that instinct is fueled by the feeling that she is his to protect. And sex is the ritual of claiming. It is the act that says, "You are mine and I am yours." Think of it like the knight and his armor. When the ritual of intimacy disappears for years, the armor rusts, and the knight forgets why he ever picked up his sword. Over time, the protector instinct atrophies. You stop seeing her as your special person and start seeing her as a roommate, or worse, an adversary. You stop caring about her little problems. You stop rushing to help her. You stop standing between her and the world. Why? Because the biological feedback loop that says, "This is my woman," has been severed. This is the final stage. You become indifferent. You might stay for the kids or for the mortgage, but your spirit has already filed for divorce. And once you go numb, it's almost impossible to come back, because every time you open your heart and it gets shut down, you close off a little bit more. Eventually, you stop feeling anything at all. It's safer that way, but indifference isn't strength, it is death. And she feels that. She feels the absence of your desire, your attention, your claim on her. And that emptiness is what's killing the marriage, not the lack of sex. So, what do you do here? Well, try this. Pick one small way to reclaim her, not sexually just yet. Just one act that says, "You're mine to care for." Maybe it's taking her hand and keeping her on the inside of the sidewalk when you walk in traffic. Perhaps it's pulling her close when she's stressed rather than letting her handle it alone. Maybe it's making a decision about her well being without asking permission first, like, "We're going for a walk. Put your shoes on." When you reclaim the role of the protector, something ancient wakes up in both of you. She feels your claim on her again. And you remember why you married her in the first place. You're not trying to fix the whole marriage this week. You're just reminding your nervous system that she's still yours to protect. So, one small act of claiming, and that's it. Now you know exactly how a sexless marriage impacts a man, but understanding the problem isn't enough to fix it. You need a complete roadmap. So watch this video next, where I will walk you through the exact 4-step framework that reignited Michael's marriage after being separated from his wife. No theory, no fluff, just the specific actions that save sexless marriages. So click it now. Blessings.